Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Now, trigger warning and disclaimer from the beginning is I'm going to use some strong languages. I will drop the F bomb, and I will drop the B bomb, and I will drop the D bomb. So, you've been warned. Also, I'll be talking about some mental issues, not all of them. So, if you're easily triggered with that, this is your disclaimer to go ahead and skip this video. So I wanted to talk about employee loyalty and wanted to talk about how rare it is to have an employee that is loyal to you, that's willing to put up with your bullshit, that is willing to put up with a lot of things. They're willing to put up. If you find an employee that is willing to put up with your bullshit, then that is a keeper. The problem is, and sadly I've seen this happen so many times, that it has become one of my biggest pet peeves. And when I do find an institution that does that to loyal employee, kid you not, I'm like, okay, so if they're doing that to their loyal employees, and if they're doing that to the employees that are considered, that put up with a lot of crap, put up with their shit, then who am I to do anything? Because I ain't gonna do anything. It's like you're gonna do this to me. You're doing this to your loyal employees, you're gonna do this to me. And it became one of my biggest pet peeves, and it became one of the biggest reasons why I quit a lot of jobs, is because of just this mentality of you're loyal to me, therefore and you already put up with my bullshit before, so you're gonna always put up with my bullshit. So I'm gonna start concentrating on less, quote unquote, less worthy people, and I'll take care of them and I'll retain them, and I'm just gonna put you to the side because you're loyal. This is not how loyalty works. See, the thing is with loyalty and with any, first of all, loyalty is like any other relationship. There is a jar, and that jar, every single time you as the decision maker decide to put aside that employee, it takes out of that jar. Now, how much does it take out of the jar? It depends on how egregious your actions are, and how manipulative you get. That's just how much you get out of the jar. And once that jar is done, once that jar is completely empty, there's no putting it back. There's nothing you can do that you can put anything on in that jar. There's no retaining. That's it. That employee no longer cares, no longer understands, no longer wants everything. And they change from an employee that was active, that was energetic, that just loved the company, to a meh employee. To an employee that pretty much is looking for an excuse to leave. And they're looking for an excuse. They're looking for that one thing you're gonna do, that they are 100% sure you're gonna do, for them to be like, I'm done, I'm out. And then you sit down and you're like, oh, this person did this to me, and this employee, see, I did all of these things to this employee. Yeah, you did a lot of things in the past. What about now? See, relationships are not about one-sided. The relationships are two-sided. It takes two to tango. And it's the same thing with a lot of things, because I've seen a post on LinkedIn the other day that I was like, seriously, are we going to talk about that? And literally two posts with like the opposites, like they're both the extremes. One was an extreme from the HR point of view, and one was an extreme from like the employee point of view, and both were just wrong, because again, it takes two to tango. It is never the fault of one party or the other party. There is a lot of layers to whatever the problem is. If you are a company and all of a sudden the candidates that you're trying to recruit are no longer coming, you need to find what the problem is. A good HR will actually discover what the root of the problem is, and if the root of the problem is something they can fix, then you fix it. If something that you can't fix about it, which happened more than once, is where a problem is unfixable, because for you to fix the problem, you need to fix like the entire hierarchy of the institution, and we all know here in Egypt it's not gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen unless a massive scandal happens. The hierarchy stays the way it is, so your problem stays the way it is. So whatever the problem is, it's gonna stay. So HR literally cannot do anything about it, as much as they want to, but they can't, because again, the hierarchy is there. The problematic entity is still there, and when a candidate comes in, well, that entity is still there, so they no longer want to show up, they no longer want to come in, they no longer want to be part of that place, part of that like institution. And then thing is, which is again going back to marketing, word of mouth. You got a lot of word of mouth, and those word of mouth basically reverberates around the entire area, and everyone knows that such and such institution is a very bad institution because of this problematic entity. And I've seen it so many times, so many places, where a problematic entity ends up causing the downfall of the entire, literally falls down of the entire group, the entire institution. It ends up failing it, but then because it's such a parasitic entity, and the reason why I say that is because see, when I do conversation, because I actually had that conversation actually recently, where people were like, oh, you mean certain people. No, what I mean is, when I do talk about parasitic people or parasitic things, is yeah, I've met these people. Like, I've met these people in real life. I've seen these people. Are they currently in my life now? Not necessarily. I can neither agree nor deny it, because I still meet new people every single day. So there is a probability that I'll meet somebody like that. But I know instantly when I see a parasitic entity. When I see an entity like that is parasitic, oh, I just ignore the crap out of them. I ignore the crap, because I am not going to deal with that. I will not deal with a parasitic entity. I will not, even if that entity is forced upon me. Oh boy. Like, literally, word to the wise, do not do that to an employee. If an employee is showing being visibly upset from an entity in this one, and you decide to be the better person by putting them together so that they need to deal together, oh, you just put the fire near the gasoline, and it is going to blow up, because that certain employee or whatever that entity is, they don't. Here's the thing with parasitic entities, is they never think that they're wrong. On the contrary, they have a very high mentality of, I am greater than thou. And it's not, if they fail, oh, it's not my failure, it's because these people did not listen to me. Yeah, no shit, they didn't listen to you. Guess why? Because you're a parasitic entity. You're an entity that people, when they see you, when they deal with you, when they are sitting down with you, they know they're not going to get anything out of it. They know 100% sure that all you're going to do is you're going to try and bait them into making whatever mistake it is, so that you can hold it to them, so that it becomes their weakness, and then you can control them within the company. And this continuously happens, and people think that they're the smart people. No, you're not. You're the dumb person. With all due respect, you're the dumb person, because you're not smart. It's very clear, especially for people who have dealt with like abusive relationships or abusive workplaces. Oh, they know this. They know the signs. They know the signs instantly, and boy, do they. Like, they will literally just look at you and they'll be like, seriously, you're gonna try and do that to me? It's like, I've already been through that, maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, maybe 10 times. I ain't gonna fall for that shit again. And you will not like, you will not do anything to me, and I will refuse to have you do anything. I'll refuse to let you have the upper hand. On the contrary, they become very isolated, and they'll be like, okay, sure, fine. If I have to deal with you, I'd rather not deal with anybody. And then they withdraw themselves, and then they become less energetic, and then they become less productive. And then most of the time that parasitic entity will be like, oh, look at this person, he's not or she's not working, and they're being unproductive, and they're overstepping their boundaries with us, and they're not taking care of us, and they're doing their horrible job. And ironically and sadly, when you have not dealt with those parasitic people, or you're the enabler of that parasitic personality, you're gonna believe what they say, and you're gonna tell the person who's being uncooperative that they should go and they should leave, and you're gonna fire them, and you're gonna still have the same problem. If the problem is high turnover, you're gonna have that problem. You're gonna have the problem for a very long time until you get rid of the parasitic entity. As long as you don't get rid of that parasitic entity, then you're gonna change. You're gonna have the same thing. She or he are gonna say the same thing, and you are going to continuously and idiotically believe what they say. Because that's just the personality, that parasitic personality. There is a reason why they're called parasitic, why we call them parasitic, when we see a personality like that, we pretty much steer away from that personality. Is because we know that just because we found out that this person is parasitic, okay, that's it, we're done for. No matter what you do, no matter what you try to do, you're gonna end up being the bad person, you're gonna end up being the wrong person, and you're gonna end up being the loser of the situation. It's a lose-lose, like it's a lose-win for them, lose for you. There's nothing you can do about it. And if they all of a sudden change, oh no, they're changing because they realize that their ways have been caught, so they're just like morphing to a different thing to do. Whether that thing is being a good good manager, or a good good owner, or a good whatever, you ain't gonna do anything. You're not gonna change, and everyone knows that. And that's why you have that problem, that continuous problem of, like I said, let's say for high turnover, or you have a problem of like employees being manipulative themselves because they have to morph. The only way to deal with the parasitic personality is either to morph into one, or to try and avoid them like the fire. And if you're forced to have, because this is the only income you have, you're gonna morph into one. And even if you're the best person, your moral compass is extremely high, you're very ethical, it's not gonna happen when you're being in a manipulative position for way too long. You end up catching a few of them, and you end up literally getting a few of them. You end up unconsciously, in order to survive, be like them. And it's sad because you're just sitting there and go seriously, it's like this person. And normally what happens is they'll be like, oh, this person was good, and then now they're not. No, it's not they're not. It's because they have to morph into the environment they're in. There's a reason why we as HR always tell people that the environment trumps anything else, is because not because of the income or what. Income is important and everything, but when we do talk about that, it's because we know this type of personalities exist, and we know how bad it is for the environment, for the work environment. Not only do they turn it into an extremely toxic one, they turn it into a fatal environment, an environment that if you're stuck in it, you're getting out in two ways. Either you're gonna be literally explode and get yourself fired, or you're gonna go to therapy, because any other option is not there. And if you're one of the same personality like that, the only way you're gonna be leaving is with a scandal, and not a small one, by the way. The scandal we're talking about is not a intimate. No, it's the big one, because that's just the type of personality you are, and that's just the type of personality you'll always be. And no matter which institution you go to, that's just who you are. Yeah, and you're never going to change, because you don't believe that the problem is from you. You always believe the problem is from others, and everyone is against you, because you are a saint. No, you're not. See, the type of personalities that get bombarded or fought against are either very successful people who, if you want to know if they're good or not, see who the people loyal to them are. If they are the type of personality that any new employee comes in becomes loyal to them, then they're a very good manager. And not because, and see, like new employees, their loyalty is normally to the company until they meet a really good person. Then their loyalty switches to that person because they know that person is going to it's going to protect them. This is the person who they have the highest chances of survival in a company with. So that's either one you're getting fought for, or the other option, which is the other extreme, and that is parasitic personalities. If you have a parasitic personality, you're literally not gonna have a lot of people loyal to you. You're just gonna have a lot of people who are leaving, and that's about it. So anyways, that's been my tea. So bye-bye.